G'day folks. Well, this video is going to be a reboot of my 9x9x9 tutorial. And when I did the first one, I essentially did all the centers off camera except for the last two, cut down to the last two centers and showed how to do them. My assumption there was that people would know essentially how to do the first four centers. And it was a wrong assumption because firstly, if you've not picked up a 9x9 before, you're not going to. I guess I'd thought, well, they've probably done a 7x7, so it'll be the same sort of thing. So I want to correct that now, make an up-to-date version of this one. So I'm going to go and show every center on this tutorial. I'm also going to show every possible scenario you can get for the final edge when you reduce these edges, or I didn't show every single one in the past. I'm going to show exactly what to do with them. So hope you enjoy this. It is, as I said, a reboot, and I'm going to link this video into the old video so that people know this one's here. So here we have the scrambled 9x9, and the first thing to note with the 9x9 is that it has a fixed center, and that's really helpful. So when I'm starting solving these centers, what I want to do is get every single piece inside here to be white. There's my white center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's a 7x7 center square there, which is going to eventually behave as a single centerpiece, similar to a 3x3 center. And that's what I've got to do. So I start with any color I like, but I'd always start with the white myself. There's my white center. And what I'm going to do, and there are more than one way to do this, but the way that I would prefer is to make vertical or horizontal strips all across. So let's say that I begin here and I want to start making these 7 pieces along the center there. It does get simpler and quicker as you go on because there's less places to search for the pieces, which will sound a bit paradoxical, but I think you'll see what I mean if you follow through. So initially when we're doing this, there's my white center. I've got another 2 pieces here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I could turn it like this and say, well, I've got 4 here as well. Whatever. I've got to find the other 3 pieces that belong there. Now, it's not as though there is only one possible piece that can go there, because if you think about it, that piece could be in this position on this face or another face. So I've just got to find a piece that belongs there and there, which are either side of the center. So let's search. There's one of them right there. So initially I can just turn that down, turn that slice down. Let's see if I can find the other one, which is just, so there's an example here. This is just either side of the center. So again, if I turn that around so the slice is becoming horizontal, turn that one around, I can then move the slice down, and I just now need one piece to go there. And do I have one on that face? No, I don't. I do have one on this face. So I rotate that so it's ready to receive this piece, and I can now turn that slice. Now, because I'm not concerned with these yet, if I'm turning the first slice, I'm always going to turn the outer as well because it's easier. So what we've got is one strip, if you like. Now, what I tend to do is once I've got that, I'm going to say that's a vertical strip that I'm trying to make. How do I make the other one? Well, I would probably do it on another face. If I try and do it on this face and kind of put a piece here, I'm going to be knocking out these pieces all the time. So it doesn't really matter which other face. I'm just going to say store that there because that is the correct position for that. And go and do another one. Now, it's not going to be across the center. It's going to be across here or here. So let's say that I start with this one. I want to fill in, or in fact, if I do start with that one, it's going to have to be like that. So I make this horizontal slice here. And the reason that I want to do it is so that I can turn pieces as I just did. Now, in order for that to happen, if this is going to be my row and I'm going to be turning things like this, I don't really need to move that at the moment. I'm okay because that piece is already there and it's on the same line. So let's see if we can get, the first thing here would be 2 pieces like this, which are either side of that one. So I'm looking on the other faces in this 3x3 central square to see if I can find anything like that. And there's one piece there. it's sort of the corner, if you look at it, it's the corner of that 3x3 central square. So once I line everything up, I can turn this down. And again, you'll notice that I'm turning not just that slice, but everything that I can, because it just makes it easier. So I haven't damaged this at all. I'm going to continue. There's another one, which is on the corner. So I'll put that into the correct position and turn it down. Now I'm working my way outwards. I need these two pieces here. So I'm sort of looking, there's one, and in fact, there's the other one, which is great. So I'll just turn them on. Now the ones on the end. Well, there's one there, which could be turned into position. And the other one, if I look here, I can see that will also go into that position. Now that's a second vertical or second strip. So now that I've got that second strip, I want to move that onto its correct face. So I'm turning it like that, and that's done. I'm going to do the same strip that I just did for the other side. But again, I want to do it on a different face. So let's say here, that's my starting piece. I want these two surrounding bits. There's one. So I'll just turn that up into position. The other one looks like it may be on this face. No, where is it? Right there. Okay, so that's done. Again, the next two pieces, which looks like, don't know if I've got any on this face. Let's just have a little turn. I've got the two outer pieces, which frankly, I might as well do because I've got them sitting there. Don't think I've got the other ones on that face. Let's have a look over here. There's one of them. So I can just turn that slice. Now the other one, not that one. That one there. Again, turn that, and I'm now ready to place that third strip. Okay. So I'm going to repeat this same sort of thing, but now I want to do the sort of the second slice from the top. Do it, put it in, and then get the other one done. So if I'm going to take the same approach, I'm looking for the piece that is that piece there to begin with, which I want to be a white piece. So I'll find it there, and I'll move it like this so that my brain is looking for the same kinds of things. So I want the two surrounding pieces there. Don't think there's any on that face. This looks possible. There's one. And there's another. Now, I again have those outer two already done, which is cool. So I just need these inner two. Again, there's one of them. And you'll notice the whole time I'm doing this, the other white bits that I've done are on this face. I'm just not disturbing them. Where's this one? I think it is that there. Yes, it is. So that is done. And I can now just rotate this face so that there's a free spot for that white strip. Repeat for the other white strip. So again, this means starting with that center piece that I'm looking for, which is, there's one there. Already happen to have this other one in position, so let's get the two surrounding it. I think that's one of them there. So I'll move that one down just the slice this time because that was already in position. Now, is there one on this face? No. How about... no, that's on the outer, so that's fine. I can leave that. All right, so it's somewhere else. I know that's genius. There. I'm going to rotate that around and bring it down. Okay, this one next to it. I think it might be that one there. So if it is on this other face, which is sort of opposite my white face, and I want to bring this piece down, I can do it, no problem. I just want to check that I'm not going to push anything out. And either I can rotate this face first, or if I couldn't, if I had both of them or something, bring that down, turn that around, and then bring back the slice that I'd already done. So that retains what I've done and keeps this intact. And now the two surrounding pieces here, there's one of them. The other one, this one here. So that completes that. And again, I can just turn that up into position. And what I hope you're seeing is that it's not a difficult process if you understand the basic techniques, which are starting with the central piece of the row and just building outwards like that. And it's obviously going to be a lot quicker for you when you're not explaining it. So there's that central piece. We're going to do the outer rows this time, or the outer strips. So let's find the two that are surrounding. There's one of them. There's the other one. Okay. So let's have a think. What I'd probably do with this one is get it off of this face. So I'm just going to turn it up to there, bring it around, and I don't even really need to turn that back because I haven't disturbed anything. So that should be now over here, and I can bring that next to my central piece. And I should find another piece. There's one there, but I think that's going to be on the left, and it now is a sort of an orientation. I don't know if that's the wrong word, but hopefully you know what I mean. It's got to be on the right here, and there's no way that piece is ever going to be on the right. It's always sort of on the left of that central piece. There's one. That will do nicely. So I've got to find, that was where I was building. I'll turn this up into position. Now this time, when I bring it up, I definitely am disturbing these two. So I just want to rotate that and put them back into position. Okay. Now the two on the sides, there's one. Now that's a left one as well, so I need a right-hand one. And I just happen to see a right-hand one and the other one next to it, so I'm definitely going to use that. And now I need the left-hand piece that belongs there. Well, the left-hand piece can be any of these outer sort of corner pieces. So that is done. That can now be moved into position. And we've got one more to do, and this is kind of what I meant by as you go along it becomes a little bit easier, because I know now that every single white piece that's left must belong on this strip. So bring that one. There's the other one. Now I am going to knock something out here, so I'll just turn that off and bring it back. Okay. Here's one piece there. This piece belongs in that position, so I'll turn that around and put it on. This one, which is sort of a corner, a center corner or something, will be rotated and put on, and then the final pieces on this face. Again, now this time it could push that out, but what I might as well do is just put that blank strip in position so it doesn't disturb anything. Rotate that and move it into position. And that is our first face done. That's the white center completely reduced. Well, the next center can be any center you like. And generally what I'll do is I'll do the white center first, and then I'll do the opposite center. The reason for that is that I can sort of use this central frame, and then I'll just choose a center from the central frame after that and work my way along. So as I said, I'll do the yellow center next, and because the center pieces are in, I must start here or here somehow, it doesn't matter. This is the only one where it's a little bit like it doesn't matter which way I go, I'm always going to be knocking out bits of this white one when I move pieces in. Now I've just noticed that that yellow strip is completely done, and so I'll probably do something that I wouldn't normally do and put it in now, or at least try and keep it there and get this one done and then put it in. We'll see if it works. Very, very unusual. I don't think I've ever seen that sort of thing before. So again, I've got to start here, and I'm looking for those two pieces either side. There's one of them. So as I bring it along, I notice that it's got another one next to it. So I'm definitely going to bring that in. The problem here is I can't just leave it there because I've knocked these out. So I always must turn that to keep what I've done and return the whites. And you might think, well, why don't I just leave it like that? Because it's always going to happen, because just of the nature of doing the opposite face. So where's another one? I've got one here. So if I turn that around, I can bring that one in and return. And you get used to very quickly knowing what to return without sort of looking too much. Okay, this one I need the piece in that position, which I don't have. I thought I did for a minute. How about that one? That looks good. So put that in. And the two on the end. No. Yeah, there's one there. So that can be brought up. Rotate and return. And this one here on the end, well, I don't want to disturb that, but I do have another one sitting here on its own. So I shall do that, store that triplet, and return the white face. Now, as I said, I might attempt to store this one on here as well. Now, I've just pushed out a white, so because I'm storing it on there, I'm going to rotate that face and bring back the white strip. So the white centers are still where they should be. Well, let's continue as if I hadn't done that. So let's now attempt to do these other ones. And of course, now that I've got that central one done on the yellow face, I can use the intervening faces to do it. So it's only really that first one where it's a bit of an issue. Okay, well, I've got a central piece there that I can use. I might as well do that. Let's get the two that surround it. And of course, I'm looking for these sort of corners on this inner 3x3. So there's one of them, and it has another one next to it. So I'll take that. Now, the nice thing here is I don't need to put anything back because I'm now using these central faces. Got, what else? Now that one there, I think I've really already got that one, which is a bit annoying, but what can you do? I can turn that around and just put this one into the position. And now the two on the ends. There is certainly one there, which is on this face, which I might have to use. And there's another one. I'll just put this one in and we'll see if we can get away with not using this one. See if we can find it elsewhere. I think it might be that one there. Yeah. Good. Okay. So that strip is now made. And at this point, I want to put it into the yellow face. And of course, as I turn that slice in, I'm knocking out a white one. So I'll need to rotate the face so that when I turn the white slice back, nothing that I've just done gets disturbed. Let's do this one. So it's the same sort of thing, looking for a piece such as this one here. I want the two surrounding it. There's one, I can turn that down, and the other one. The other one looks to me like it is sitting right there. So I need to get that out. What I can do initially is, because that's in the correct position, just turn this face to put the three yellow pieces there. So when I turn that piece down, yes, it's knocked them out. I'll return the face, or turn the face, and then get the whites back. Again, this I need a second piece and I need a last piece. So there is a second piece right there. And the last piece is right there. No, it's not. That was on the central bit. Is it on the same face? Yes, it is, I think. Yep, that one. Okay. Oh, did I forget this one or did I just accidentally knock it out? I do not know. In any event, let's bring it back, and that's now the next strip that I need. Now, I can't place that strip in this empty slot because if I do, when I turn the face, this strip is going to come back out. So I need to rotate the face so that when I place this strip, it pushes the existing strip out. I'm going to turn that slice only. There's the one that was already there. I now rotate the face and now bring that slice back, and it ensures that what I had already done is still there. Okay, I'm now ready for these two parts. So let's find, for example, that central piece there. Let's see what we can build. There's a piece that's already there. Turn this around and no, they're also already there. Got anything over here? I think we might have. I think I've got that one as. Oh no, I haven't. So that's good. And you can see what I mean by getting a little bit quicker because there's not that many pieces left on the yellow to do. So I need a first and what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a sixth and a seventh. So there's the seventh, which I can bring in. This one is the sixth. Again, not worrying about the whites and the yellows because they're on the sides. And I think this one down here, yep, that might be a first. There we go, another strip. So this time, doesn't matter which I push out because none of them are done. So I might as well just go push that out. Now, if I do that, of course, you'll notice that I just turned both slices there. If I was to do that, when I rotate this face, that one that I've already put in is going to come back out. So in actual fact, I'm just going to turn that second slice so that when I rotate the face, this stays. Okay, I've got this one here to do. Now there's the, is that the central piece? No, that's the central piece. Let's see what we've got. That outer one. That's the same one. This one here. Nothing on there. This one, already got it. Okay, so the other pieces must be on this face. So what I would probably do is just grab that, turn it off, and then continue looking at this face if I can. Let's see. Oh, there's one of them. This, is that another one? That is another one there, so I'm going to put that one in. And then the two on the edge. There's one. And the other one looks like it might be that one. So firstly, I'm going to separate these two pieces because I need both of them. So I'm first just going to move this one over here. And I don't want to disrupt this yellow, so I'll just turn that off. And now separate that piece. Now I can return the yellow strip that I was building, return that to its position, and bring it up. The other piece that I needed was this one here, and that's now ready to be put where it belongs. Okay, once again, in order to place this, I want to push out the one that has already been made and just use that slice. That's great. We already had that one done right from the beginning, which was unusual but good. So now I've just got the last yellow to do. So I want to search for the central piece, which is here. You can see there's 3 more pieces that belong on this face, or on that strip, I should say. So let's place what we can. There's one that's going to go there. If I move down here, I can bring that one up. I can rotate this face to bring them to the top and move those up. And there should only be one more piece now. There it is. Put that into its correct position. Like so, that's the last strip. And as per usual, I can't just place it in there. I need to push out what I've done, rotate the face, bring it back. And you'll see now that that yellow center is now completely reduced and will now behave as a single centerpiece on a 3x3. Right, so now we've got the 4 remaining faces. And again, the centers are fixed, so that's good. You can choose whichever color you want to do first. I'm going to leave red and blue till the end, so I'm going to choose either green or orange first. Let's choose orange here. Now, the same sort of technique happens here. I can look at this one, and all my pieces now are on this central strip, so I don't have to worry about the outer faces. There's nothing on there that I need. Those 3 are already done. What I'd probably do here is notice that that is nearly already done. And whether I decide to keep that or just ignore it, I'll probably just ignore it for now. So let's search for these 2 pieces that go in those positions. Do I have any there? I've got those 2, which can be brought down like so. And that one there, that piece there can be brought down. And the final piece, well, that one there can be brought down as well. So there is my first orange strip done. Now again, I'm always working this way, and because of that, I now must turn this vertically so that this just sits here. And again, what I want to kind of do is perhaps use another of these faces to build the next lot. So as before, I'm going to look for a piece. I see a piece there that I'd like to use to start building. That's going to be my central piece. So I'm just going to turn that off the face, build around that. Now, because I'm building around that, I'm never going to turn this strip away, which is good. So I can just turn that down and turn that down into position, and it doesn't affect that strip. The pieces surrounding that, got 2 there, that can be moved down, and I'm looking for another 2. Well, there's one. And the outer one, here we go. So that's my second orange strip, and hopefully you see what I mean by becoming quicker. And it gets quicker still. This now needs to be placed next to that one. I can just turn that in because nothing else is done. Right, the next one to build will be the same sort, so it requires a centerpiece here. So what I'd like to do this time, let's see if I have any other pieces. I don't have any in that 3x3 or that 3x3. So the 2 that I need, one's here and the other one is here. So what I'll probably do is firstly turn that up and around like that, and then turn this other one up as well. Except I'd really like to have that into that position. So to achieve that, I'm just going to turn this one off initially. Rotate my face and then turn that back. Now you might think, what about all the stuff I've disturbed? Well, I haven't actually disturbed anything, which is good. Okay, now I can move these into position. This one, no problem. This one, yes I can, but it's pushed the orange out. So now I'll rotate that face and bring the orange strip back. Okay, it happens to have the two end pieces, so I'm just searching for these two. There's one there, which I can happily, in fact, just bring both of them down. And do I have the other one? That one, I'm pretty sure. Good. Now, did I push something out? Yes, I did. Okay, so that's another orange strip done. Again, I can turn it and just place it into position. I'm not pushing anything else down or out of the way because this is the first face in this central strip that I'm doing. Okay, continuing. This is the central piece for that layer or that strip now. Let's see what else we can do. Pretty much now I'm probably going to have to always bring down, rotate and return to keep these strips where they belong. What else have we got? Nothing there, nothing there. So the other piece, oh, in fact, it's not going to be in that central 3x3 square, is it? It's going to be like this one. Okay, there's quite a few here in this little line, so I might take that off to there and see if they're useful. Well, that one's certainly useful, so I'll bring that down, rotate. In fact, I haven't done anything yet, so that's all good. And just the end pieces now. Let's see what I've got handy. That one. And no, that one. Okay, so this strip can now be, again, just placed into that position. Let's do the other one. And the central piece for that other one is there. Now notice here I've got two that surround it, so let's move them up next to it, rotate, put back what I dislodged, and rotate again. What else have we got that's helpful? These two on the ends, and I haven't done those strips yet, so I can just turn them up. Okay, I need this one. No, this one here. But that's already done. Let's see if I can just turn that around. There we go. In fact, they are the two that I need when I rotate it that way. So I'm going to turn them up into position, just those two, well, second and third slice. Rotate, and now I can sort of bring it all back, and that just leaves me the last, or the outer sections to do. So there's the central bit with one next to it already. All right, I can bring each of these three down and just turn that like so, and then just return whatever I've pushed out. Okay, just two on the end now. No, they're not handy. Oh, hang on. No, they're not. Those two are not going to work. I mean, one of them will, the corner will, but not together. So let's see. This one here is good. I think I can just, oh no, I can't just move that up. And the one on the end, for example, will be this one. Okay, so that's made that strip and I'll place it into this one in order to push out these two. And that just leaves me one orange strip to make. Where's the central piece? Is there. I'm going to turn it around like this, actually, just so that that's at the bottom. I'm building everything from these other faces. Okay, so this one, first of all, the one next to it is there. So I need to turn that up to a surrounding face so that it's now in position. In fact, I'd prefer that to be there, I think. Okay, and the two that surround it, there's a couple, so let's bring those in. And the last two, well, one of them's there. So to get this one out, probably what I'll need to do is just store that, turn that off to, say, that position. I've got the other one here, so I might as well do the same. Turn that off there. And just thinking about this, I'm going to keep this second one here so that when I turn the first one, making it too difficult for myself. Okay, let's just do that. Turn them off. All right. Now, last two that belong here. The first one is this one. The last one is now in position. So that's brought down. And was this the one? Yeah, okay. All right, so again, that orange now can be just put in there and that third center is reduced. And so that was a little bit like the first one where we didn't have to worry about pushing out other stuff apart from what was already done on that center. So I said that I would do the green next, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to finish with the red and the blue. So it's still really the same here, but now all the pieces that I need are on these three faces. So there's less to search for. So if I do look at the green, I'm just going to say, well, I've got to find the green that belongs there. And so I can turn that into position, rotate, and every time now I'm going to be returning. I'm always going to be fixing up what I've broken because I've got that whole center and that whole face done. Next piece here will be something like, well, these two greens will do nicely. You can see this is really just a 4-move sequence every time. It's just putting it into position, turning, returning what you broke, and turning back again. So I've got two on the end here. Do I have two handy on the end? I think I do. Those two there. Okay, so the orange center is still done, and that central green strip is now complete. Now, once again, I probably use this other face to build another green strip. So first of all, oh, look at this one. I've got one here that's nearly completely done. So let's see if I can grab the piece on the other face that belongs. I think I can. So just turn that slice up, store it, return the slice. So that green is now done, and I can now bring it down next to its center, rotate that face, and fix up the orange. Same sort of thing, I want to get the one that belongs here. And so the center for this one is that piece there. So now building outwards again. I've got two here that I can use. I might as well do that. So put them into position, rotate the face, undo, undo, rotate. Okay, where's this one? This one is actually part of the 3x3 center, which is that piece right there. So I need to move this up onto that face first. Put it into its position and now turn it next to the other two. Rotate around. You can see that I've got nearly a whole red. I'm not concerned about that. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, who cares? Because I'm not worried about the reds at the moment. Just want to get the green centers done. Right, this one belongs. So that's in the corresponding one. Do I have it on here? I do, and it's got the outer one with it. So I'll put that into position, rotate, undo. And this last piece here, I think it's that one. Okay, so that green strip is now done. Once again, when I put it in, I want to push out the one that I've already made. So push that one out, rotate the green face and bring it back. And as I do that, it brings back everything else that I've already done. Okay, this one here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 already done. Let's see, I can bring these two straight up, which, oh no, that's the wrong one anyway. So I can do that, but it doesn't help. I've got this one here. So I'm just going to move that slice down. Now, I get confused which slice, I'll just look back at the orange face. Okay, the third and the sixth piece. There's the sixth. So I'll bring just both of them down because it's easier. Now, I'm guessing the third piece might be somewhere on here because it's not there. No, it's not there at all. Unless it's on this face, but I don't think it is. So, all right, given that the third piece looks like it's that one there. So I want to move this piece, let's say up to that face without disturbing what I've done. So I'll turn that half-built green strip and I'm now going to move these two up to this face here, turn them off and return. And now, which one was it? That one there? Yep, that one there is ready to place where I need it by turning that slice and returning the slice. So that strip is now done. Again, I can move it into position. I don't have anything over here to worry about, but I have pushed that orange out. So I do need to rotate the face and return. Now, close to the fun part, we've only got a couple of green bits to go, and the last bit is pretty cool. So let's get this green strip done. What have I got up the top here? 1, 2, 3 pieces that I can use. So I can bring those down. Yep, and those there. Okay, so now 1, 3, and 5 is what I need. No, there's the 1. Just piece 3 and 5. I don't think any of them. No. What about on here? 3. There's piece 3. And let's at least get that one. We'll move these up to the face. Okay. So there's my piece 3, which I can place into the strip with a slice turn. And the last one is piece 5, which I think might be that one. So again, what I'd like to do is just store this here so I can turn this desired piece to a different face. Okay. All right, now that is the piece that I want to go here. Once again, turn the slice, we'll rotate the face to store the stripe. And we now have this that is ready to go to here, but once again, I need to push out the piece that's already done. And rotate the face and bring back what I've done. All right, the last 2 strips of the green face. There's a central bit. In fact, let's do this one. It's already got another one attached. Let's see what I can do here. Well, I can put the 2 outers. Hopefully you're seeing that it does become pretty quick. Okay, now I know that I'm going to need at least that one. I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to store this one up here before I rotate this one around horizontally. Let's see what I've got. 3. Yep, so I can certainly put the 3 in, or the third piece. And I need piece 5 and 6. Looks like those 2, which are actually together. So what I'm going to do is store this on the side and just move those 2 pieces up using slice turns. Store them and return. And you can just always check everything's back to where it should be. All right. Well, I happen to have 5, 6, and 7, so I might as well just bring them all down. And now place this into there. You can see it's knocked out the orange. So once again, I've got to rotate that face to bring it back in. Right, the last green, here's the central piece. Let's turn up what we can. That slice and that slice. Return slices. I can now rotate this place or face and put those 2 pieces in. Where does that leave me? Piece 1 and 6, which are both here. So again, I'm going to bring that up and rotate the face to store them there. Turn that face around, and these are the last 2 pieces. And the final piece of this puzzle is, I guess, to put that so it pushes out the existing one. Rotate the face and return. So you can see nothing on the white and yellow has been touched. The orange is all good, the green's all good. And we now come to the last 2 faces. Well, we've got a slightly different technique soon, but before that, I want to just say, well, what you can do first is look at this face, happens to be the red. I'm going to try and get, using the same sort of techniques, 3 strips, if I can. Maybe you can't, but I think normally it's a good bet. So this one here only needs 1 red piece. So I'm going to look on this face, and I can see that there is a red piece that'll do the job there. I'm going to put it on. It's knocked that out. So I rotate and bring back. Now I have that central red strip. Now I'm going to try and do these other two around it. So here's 4 that are already done. So let's see if I can find the other 3 pieces that belong there. Well, there's one of them, and there's the other 2. I'm going to turn that up, turn these 2 up, rotate the face, return what I've already done, and now I'm going to move this one down into that position, rotate the face, and return. Everything I've done is still done. Now this is the other central piece, so I'm looking for pieces that surround that central piece. Let's have a good think. The 2 pieces will be these 2 corner pieces here. So what I'd like to do, if I can, is to get these corner pieces initially, because I can't use this and I can't use this. So I've got to, let's say, turn this off, get these 2 corner pieces down into this area. Now to do that, I'm going to do the same sort of thing that I did before, which is push out this one, rotate, and push back. Now my 2 desired little center corner pieces are there. All right, let's have a look. The first one that I can do is to bring this one up next to there. I'm going to rotate this face, which will do 2 things. The first thing, it'll store that I just made. The second thing, it'll grab this one and put it back down here. Now, the problem now is that I really need, if I'm going to make this little piece here go there, it should be down here. So I need to move it into that position, or this position, without disturbing what I've done here. The way that I'm going to do that is turn it up to this face and push out what I've already done. Then rotate so it's now in the correct position, bring it back down. Now when I turn this, you can see that little piece that I want is in the correct position. I turn it up, rotate to store, turn it back. Okay, so far so good. I need the first piece and the 6th and the 7th. Well, let's get the first piece. That one there. That's done. How about the 6th and the 7th? Well, I can see a 7th here. I can also see a 6th and a 7th here. I'm just going to take them one at a time, I think. Let's see if I've got anything else that's... I mean, I do... Oh, no, they're not going to work. Looks like it's actually those 2 pieces there. Okay, so once again, I'm going to see if this is... I want to get these 2 pieces down to this face first, if I can do that. To do that, I'm going to push this out, the bit that I've already made, and these 2 pieces, if I now turn that face and bring it back. Now was it these? Yes, it was those 2 there. I'm pretty sure, was it? No. Let me just ponder this and make sure that I've got the correct pieces. It's actually these 2. Okay. Do the same thing. So what I want to do is push that one out, rotate, bring back. Okay. Now these are the 2 pieces that I need. Now I've got to find some way of, and I mean, as I say, I could try and do these together, or I could just do one at a time. It might be easier here just to do one at a time because, in fact, I've got those 2. Let's do that. Move it up, turn it off, bring it back. You can see, hopefully, what I'm always trying to do, which is just build up bits, and I'm always pushing out using something I haven't done here, rotating to get what I want. and then moving back. Now, to get this red into that position, once again, I've got to push this out, rotate, bring it back. Now, you might think, well, why can't I keep doing that? And you potentially can to a degree, but the problem comes now when I've got to get this piece here. I look at this and say, oh, that looks pretty cool. I've got to get this piece here, but I've got absolutely no room down here to play with anything because those strips are already done. So from now on, here's what I'm going to do. This is clearly the red face. I'm going to start trying to place any strips with a large number of red pieces into the face. And I'm going to do it in the most logical way possible. And what I mean by that is, let's say that I want to place these two. I don't want to knock out these two strips over here because they already have 3 pieces each, whereas this one has none and this only has 2. So if I don't want to knock these two out, what I need to do is push them out first, rotate the face, and bring them back. So just to be clear, at this point, after doing 3 strips on my second to last face, all I'm now trying to do is get as many red pieces on here as I can. Let's see if I can do anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Well, I want to keep these. I could increase it by 1, technically, which is probably worth doing. So I'll put them in there, rotate the face, move them out. Now, I don't think at this point there's anything else that I can do that's going to make logical sense. Just having one last little check. No, I think that's it. So at this point, this is where we're using something a little bit different, but guess what it is? It's basically the corner piece series, but we're just going to do it using slices. And what we want to think about is the movement of the 3 pieces involved. So all the pieces are going to be within these center squares somewhere, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to have them symmetrical or anything like that. So let's have a look at me wanting to place this piece here, this red piece, which is currently blue. What I'm looking at is I'm thinking, where does the movement of the pieces occur? Well, the corresponding piece, if I was to turn this face like that, you can see that it comes from there. If I turn this face like that, it goes down to that position. So what's going to happen is I'm always going to have 1 piece on this face and 2 pieces on this face. So let's say that I wanted to place a red piece into that position. And for example, I want to again look at where does that come from? The position there. So row 3, column 2, if you like. Well, I already have a red piece in that position, which is actually good because that is going to go to there. When I turn it, that's going to go over to that blank blue spot. So then the question is, where does this one come from? It comes from here. And you'll notice there's a red piece here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have red going to red, red going to blue, blue going up here to fill that red position. Well, that's fantastic because I'm essentially it's going to look like a swap of a red and blue piece, but it's really a 3 cycle. So the way to work out what you're doing is think about what piece you're trying to fill. Where does it come from? That position. That position needs to have, well, that red piece is already there, and I'm going to bring the corresponding red piece down to fill its slot. Well, how do we do it? Well, because this red piece is already in that position, what I'm going to do is carry out, as I said, an ordinary corner piece series. My upper face is going to be this face. My left and right, instead of being the outer, which I would normally do, let's demonstrate, that goes to there. My right face is now this slice that contains this piece and the one that I want to fill. So I just turn that slice up to there. That's my right face turn away from me. And I do an upper anti-clockwise. And now I do my left turn away from me, which is just that slice. Continue an upper face. Now return the so-called right face, and an up anti-clockwise, return the so-called left face. Now what you'll notice is that where did this one is filled, which came from there, that was the red piece that used to live here, and that blue piece used to live here. So that is how we can approach it. So for example, if I turn this around again and say I want to do each of these, well, again, I say, where does this come from? It's the same piece, same position, so that's good. That red is going to go there. I need a corresponding red piece to be in that position. So let's turn it around and see if I can get that. And it may not be possible. But in this case it is. There's my red piece. And so that red piece is going to go down to there, that to the blue to there. Just to be clear, let's count how many red pieces are still on the blue face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 to go. Let's carry that out again. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So as I said, it's essentially a swap. Let's see whether we can do something else smart. I often like to look for two pieces together. And what I'm really looking for here, okay, if I think about these two pieces, if I turn this face, they're coming from that position. So I'd like those two red pieces to go to there. What's going to replace these? Those two red pieces there. So I should get two done here. So again, I'm just looking at which slices am I turning. The second slice and these last two slices over here. So I do my upper face turn and last two slices. I can't turn that because it doesn't matter. Now the second slice. Okay, we were down to, I don't know what, 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So hopefully you can see that this definitely is doing the job. Nothing super useful there unless, well, let's have a look potentially at these two pieces here, or the corresponding blue pieces there. Again, when I turn this, I think where they come from position 3 and 5 on the top layer. So I'd like these two red pieces to be in position 3 and 5 on the top layer. Now, this is an interesting one. Can I get both of these done? They're on separate slices. So these two reds, we want to go to there. And then these two reds will come to there and the two blues will go to there. And when I'm finished, I should be down to 5 pieces. So upper face slice and then last slice only for the right turn, and then upper face anti, and then it was slice 3 and 5. So that slice and that slice. Now we continue. You can see it all coming back together. And we are down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to go. Let's have a look at these two. Do I have anything nice for there? The corners on the outside are pretty easy. So let's see if we can match something up. Well, I can certainly do that second red piece there corresponding with that blue piece on the outside. So I'm going to move that into position. It comes from here. So it's red, red, blue is what's going to happen. So it's the second slice and the last slice. Okay, that's done. What's next? Right, I've got a red piece corresponding to that blue piece. So that will come from there. Now what's going to happen here, that red will go to, in fact, let's have a double check here. Yes, it is actually the same. It's not gone up to a different row. So that red will come to there, that red to there, and the blue will go to here. Okay, now here's a blue piece that corresponds to that red piece, which is good. So when I turn it like that, again, I've got the same sequence happening. Now I'm down to two pieces now. I've got the corner one here. I'll leave that till the end. What I'm going to do is put this blue piece on the right hand side, and there's the corresponding red piece. You can see that will come down to that position, which will turn around to there. So now it's this middle slice that I want to be turning for my left turn. The right turn is going to be this last slice. And now after all that, the corner parts seem pretty simple. You totally get the hang of it. That red is going to there, that red to there, and the blue will come up and complete the final center. There we go. So I hope that way of dealing with these made sense. It is get as many as you can done with simple turns first. And then once you've run out of options, use that corner piece series and just base it upon the different slices that are required to move the three pieces around. Well, that completes all of the centers. And so we're now ready to move on to reducing the edges. So at this point, I've got every center is behaving as a single center on a 3x3. What I want to do now is get all of the edges to be the same color. So for example, I want orange, green all the way across. Now I'm not going to do all of these. I will show the general techniques and then absolutely cut into the last probably three. So let's find one to do initially. I'll take this red blue. It's got two pieces next to each other. All I want to do is just find any other red blue pieces that are somewhere and attach them. You might think, well, how do you attach them? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show. Now, let's say that I note here that I've got blue, red. So blue on the top, red on the front. Well, I want the same thing to happen with any other pieces that I place. So there's blue, red. So I can move that up, and because I don't care about anything else, I can move all three of the slices plus the outer layer. I just want that. And all I'm going to do is turn it off to a side face, replace it with something that's not done, and undo. And then I'll return the centers. The centers are still good. There's those three blue reds. I'll just continue doing that because it's very, very simple. It's the same sort of thing. Got a blue, red piece there. Okay, so that can go next to those ones, and at the moment anything else is fair game to replace it. Blue reds, there's a blue red there on the end, so we'll do that one. Still looking for the central blue red piece and an outer one. There's the outer one. So let's get that done. Turn it down. Of course I can go onto the left face, no problem with that whatsoever. As long as I turn everything back so that I can return the centers. All right, well the last piece, that central piece is right there. It's now red, blue, so that's great. I just need to turn the center up to join them. Turn it off to the side, replace and return. And when I return the centers, all the centers will be intact, and you can see that edge is now completely reduced. It's pretty quick. You can often have two next to each other or two on the same thing that I've already done. Let me see if I can do another one and just show a couple of techniques. There's a white red. So let me see if I can find another white red piece. I mean, there is one here. What about the central white red? If I can find that one. No, it doesn't exist. Oh, there it is. Okay, those were the two. So what I've got is the central white red, and I'm going to bring both of these white reds up. I'm going to check on the other two. I might as well show you this as well. I'm going to put another white red piece onto this layer also. So here's a white red here. I want to get it onto somewhere here so the white's on the top. So it matches that. Okay, so I've got essentially what I can do is say, well, I want to join a bunch of white red pieces. So there's my central one. There's one there. There's two there. There's a spare slot here. Can I do it? Well, as long as I can get a white red piece there, yes, I can. So I'm going to place this one into position. So now I've got all four of these filled with white reds. So let's bring them all into this line here. There was another one, and there were two more that were there. All right, so we've just gone from sort of 1 to 5. All the centers are out, doesn't matter. Replace this with that one, say, because that's not yet done. Okay, that's all finished, and now it's really, really simple to see what has to go where. All the centers are back, and those 5 white reds are there. Now, while I'm on this one, I'll show you one other technique that's super useful, and it's fantastic because I already have exactly what I wanted, which is a red-white piece in the same row, but wrong. It's misoriented. So for this, I want to find the other white-red piece. There. And I want to move that. Let's have a look. I want to move it so that it is on the same line as the wrongly oriented piece, and it's going to push it out. So white, red, that's great. It's going to push out the other one, and now I've brought it together. Well, I need to do something. So I don't want to replace this with another piece. What I want to do is flip this entire edge. To do that, I'm going to move it out onto a side face. So just replace it there, and then bring it back into this face. But instead of turning it straight down like that, which would not achieve anything, I want to return it flipped, which means moving its position up, turning it onto that position, and then returning it. Now, when we come back here and bring the centers back, what you'll notice is that that red-white piece, which used to be wrongly oriented, is now correctly oriented, and the whole thing is done, and all the centers are back. They are your basic techniques that you need, so I'm going to cut through until, let's say, the last 3 of these edges. Okay, so here we are down to the final 3 unreduced edges. So all of the rest of the edges are looking good. With these final 3, this one that we're going to do now, we do in pretty much exactly the same way, because we only need one undone edge on the side to deal with it, but it might take slightly longer. So let's have a look. I'd look at these three and say, well, I don't know, there's nothing obvious that stands out as to which one I should do. So perhaps I'll do the red yellow first. It's got three there already. So initially I will perhaps move this one up to this face. Now I've knocked that off, so I just want to put that out the way. Just do that to get everything in position. Okay, so I've got this yellow-red, which needs to be red-yellow. So I'll turn it around to there. So it's now red-yellow. It's going to come down into that position there. And this will be my third piece. So I'll bring that down as per normal and replace. Okay, so now I should have 1, 2, 3, 4 ready to go. Now I can see that there's still 1, 2 somewhere else, and this one which is in the wrong position. So if I put these two here ready to drop down to there, they will go into here and knock this one out, which is exactly what I want. So move them down into position, replace with this thing here. And return centers. And we've got one yellow-red remaining there, which goes in this position. So again, this is red-yellows. I've got the red-yellow sitting there, and this is my third piece. So you can see that it's the same procedure, it just takes a little bit longer sometimes. So I'll now replace it with that third piece. And that's now completed the 10th of the edges, those red yellows there. And what that leaves us is with 2 more edges to do. So let's just put them together. We've got the blue orange and the green white. And that's a pretty standard sort of thing. Well, what we're going to do now is do the 11th edge and concentrate only on that 11th edge, whichever one it is, and leave it's very unlikely that we'll get the 12th edge done automatically. It has happened to me once before, but only once. So I would look at this and say, well, it doesn't matter which one I choose, but I'm going to, let's say this one here has white greens and a white green there, and I've got a white green in that position as well. Now I'm not automatically thinking of putting it in there because now I don't have a third piece on the side. So I've got to use a slightly different approach here. And what I will do initially is look at this one. This one is a green, white. There's a couple of options that I can do. One is pushing it out, what I want to keep, and flipping this one. And I think I will do that because this is going to land right next to these two. So let me explain. I want to put this green white one in to here, like that. Now I'm going to flip this edge, so they'll become white green. But obviously I don't want these ones to flip as well. So I'm going to move the other correct ones out of the way. Then I'm going to flip this here. So we take it out to this side face and then return it. And of course return it, always the same with flipping, by putting its position up, turning it onto its position. Okay, so that's now been flipped. Let's return centers and see what we've got. We've lost one of them, but that's okay. We do now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the same direction, correctly oriented. All right, the next thing that I want to think about, I don't necessarily want to just put this white green in here. I want to think about putting them in so that they will go in not correctly. So let's just ponder this one, this green white piece. If I was to move that green white piece down to that position and flip the edge, it would correctly go over to here and become white green. Well, that's exactly what I want to do. But again, I want to get rid of all the other already correct white green pieces. So just going through this one bit at a time. There's the green white piece that I want to flip. Now you might be thinking, could I do it with the other one? Let's just have a check of that other one. The other one is, I think I can. I mean, the other one is over here. So we will do both of these at the same time because they're on the same thing and they're pointing the same direction. So let's move both of these into position. The other one was the second to last layer there. Now I do want to flip the edge, but I also want to get rid of anything else that is correct. So that white green's got to go, that white green's got to go, and this white green here has got to go. All right, so now I'm ready to flip the white green edge, and the only thing I've got left is blue orange. So let's flip it. Position up, onto position, return. Okay, now let's put the edges back and see what we've got. Oh, you're kidding me. Well, that's like 1 in a billion. It's actually probably like 1 in 8. But anyway, that has also got the blue orange done at the same time as completing the white green. I said it was extremely unlikely, but it has just happened. Don't count on that happening all the time. That's the general technique for doing that 11th edge. What I want to do is set up and complete 3 of the 7 other possible scenarios you will get for the final edge. This is the 8th scenario where it's just solved, but most of the time that's not going to happen. So I'll set up for that now and come back soon. All right, well, here's the first of 3 scenarios out of the 7 that I'm going to show, and I guarantee once I've done all these 3 of these ones, you will know how to do anything that you encounter. So what we're looking for here is this final edge. We always look at the central piece. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We look at the 4th piece and say that piece is correct. So that's red, white. All of these should be red, white. In this scenario, you'll notice that there's 3 here and there's 3 here. And in fact, in every scenario you encounter, it'll always be symmetrical. If there's white, red, red, white, red, white, then over here it will be red, white, red, white, white, red. You're never going to have something that's not symmetrical. So we just concentrate on one half. So this half, I'm going to call it the lower half because I'm going to flip it like that. They are all incorrect. Now, any that are incorrect, I turn those slices 1 turn, then resolve centers, re-reduce the edges. It's that simple. Doesn't matter what you've got. So this is the correct one. These are incorrect. I turn those slices. All of them are incorrect. I'm turning the outer layer as well. Doesn't matter. It's just the slices that I want. They're all incorrect. I've now fixed that problem. Now, to put it back to where it should be, I want to firstly resolve the centers. Now, how do I do that? Well, the same way that I would do this when I was resolving centers, I would say, well, I want to keep these ones, so I'm pushing them out with the new ones, turning the face, bringing them back. That's the blue centers done. What about the red? Well, same thing. I'll rotate that so that I can push the ones out that I want to keep, turn the face, bring it back. And finally, the green. And of course, once I've done the 3rd center, the 4th center must automatically be done as well. So that's the centers re-reduced, really simple. Now you'll notice that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 edges that I now need to re-reduce. I'll do it as simply as I can. So here's yellow greens. There's the other yellow greens. Let's get something out here on the side, which will be that one there. So I can then bring them together, replace it with this one on the side, and return. That has now done those. That'll leave me 1. That's done. 2. There's the other one. 3. Okay, so what have I got this time? I've got orange blue that I think would be a decent one to do. So let's put the other orange blues there. And this will be my 3rd piece. So we'll turn it out to the side. All right. Bring those together, replace with this one. So now I'm down to 2 edges only. Let's put them together so we can see what we've got. The green, red, the white, red. Now, you can clearly see that one of them looks good. One of them looks dodgy. In other words, I've got a flipped bit part of it. The one with the flipped bit is the one I want to complete. So let's say that these right white reds are correct. That's not correct. I want to bring these other red whites down into the position and then flip this edge. And if I do it like this and flip, that's not going to do anything. It's just going to give me the same problem. So I'm going to need to turn it so that those three white-red edges, when I bring them down, are going to line up with the one that did look incorrect. That's the one that looks dodgy. So it's very similar to the centers. Push out the ones you want to keep. Now flip this edge. Take it out. Move position up and put on. And then that's flipped now. Return centers. You can see that has been solved. And of course, so has the other one. And we know that's going to happen because this was part of a solve for the 12th edge. It was the first scenario where we had the central one correct, these three wrong, these three wrong. Okay, for the next scenario, we've got this one here, which just looks quite checkerboardy. And again, if I look at the central piece, which is this blue-red, I'm noting that the ones that are not correct are the first slice and the third slice. And from the other side, the first slice and the third slice. So once again, ignore this part, just look at this part and say, which are the ones that are wrong? Slice 1, slice 3. That tells me I need to turn slice 1 and slice 3, one turn, and then resolve the centers and re-reduce the edges. So how do I resolve the centers? Same thing. I want to put these in and I want to keep the blues where they go. So I turn that around, push them out, turn the face, bring them back. That's the blue centers done. Repeat for the orange. And finally the green. Okay, so the centers are done. Now this one looks a little bit trickier than the other one. The theory is exactly the same. It's just harder because there's two slices which aren't together. So the first one you remember had 3 pieces that were wrong. This one has 2. And I've shown you the version where the 2 that were wrong were on the first and the third slice. But of course you could have 2 here or 2 here. It's the same technique. So again, let's have a look and see if we can rebuild some of these. I've got the green reds which can go there. So I'll bring one of these out to use as a third piece. Let's bring those 2 green reds in and replace. That's one done. What's next? Looks like I can do this yellow-red fairly straightforwardly. Where's the third piece that I need? Oh, there is no third piece. Of course, yellow, red, blue, red. So it won't be quite as straightforwardly. Let's have a look. First thing I might do is say, well, I'd like to get 4 blue reds together if I can do that. So again, I've got no third piece now, so this is now down to flipping. So I will initially bring that blue, red, and that one down, and I'm going to flip this over so that those 4 are stored over here. Alrighty. Now, the next thing that I want to do is now look at these blue reds here. I want these blue reds to come down and push out all the correct ones that I want to keep so that those 2 blue reds flip over and become red, blue, red, blue. So what I would do, bring that down, bring that one down. So they are now in position. And now I just want to push out anything else that is a red, blue, because I don't want that to flip over. So push out that one, push out that one, and push out that one. So the only thing left here, and you'll notice that these yellow reds seem to have come together quite nicely as well. So now I'm going to flip this edge here. Return centers, and the red blues are complete, and so are the yellow reds. So that is the second scenario. I'll set up now for the final one that I'm going to show, but you'll know exactly what to do with this last one anyway. Okay, and here's the last scenario that I want to show. And again, if we look at the central piece, being that green-yellow, you can see that there's only one really which is out on either side, and that's this third slice here. So that's what I turn. Just that third slice, one turn, and now resolve the centers. So I want to get that blue back in. I want the red. And finally the green. All right, so the centers are done. Now I want to remake these. So I'll do this orange-green first. That seems simple enough. So just putting that one in, and I'll use this one as my third piece. Okay, so that leaves me green, yellow, red, blue, and green, red. So I'll pick one that looks easy, which seems to be probably the green, red. So I'll just put that out on the side. Bring the green, reds together and replace it. And that will leave me the red, blue, and the green, yellow. So once again, I look to the edge that seems to have something wrong with it, which is this one here. And that tells me that that is precisely what I want to push out, that green-yellow piece. I want to push it out with the correct yellow-green. So I'm going to bring that yellow-green in. I'm going to flip this edge, and the only part that will be affected will be this part here at the end. So when I bring the centers back, there's that yellow-green, and of course that one is done as well. So that is the technique for dealing with that last edge. I've shown you 3, there are 4 others, but I'm absolutely positive you'll know exactly what to do now with anything you encounter. That leads us on to the final stage, which is a really quick stage of solving this reduced 3x3. It's behaving now as a 3x3 cube. And I will assume that you know how to solve a 3x3. So do it however you like. I'm doing it how I like, which is edges first and then corners last. So I'll begin with the white face. So this is behaving as a center. So there's white, red that I can put into place. The white orange has landed there as well. Here's a white blue. And the white green. It's in position but flipped. So let's just deal with that. Okay, so that's all the white edges in. I would turn it upside down and do 3 of these middle layer edges. Okay, the red-green can be the last one. So with that third one, I now want to use this position to help me get these 2 edges at the back. So I'm looking for yellow-orange and yellow-green. So I can happily place the yellow-orange, which also automatically places the yellow-green. Unusual, but there you go. And these last 3 will be in some configuration. I mean, as for a normal 3x3, they could be solved, they could be in a 3 cycle, they could be 2 flipped in position. And we could, of course, have a swap of 2 as well. What have we got here? I've got the blue-yellow flipped in position. I've got the red-yellow and the blue-red that need to swap. And so as per a 3x3, this is really simple to deal with. Just turn that upper face 1 turn, and I can resolve that yellow-green to the back there. And then I can resolve the yellow-orange over to here. And that should now leave me with a 3 cycle that I can deal with pretty straightforwardly. As I said, I'm not going to go through all the variations of a 3x3 because I know you know how to solve that. So that's all the edges done. The last step is to deal with the corners, and I'm going to use the corner piece series, which I've already used in this solve. The only difference here is I'm just using outer slices, or outer faces I should say. So I'm not turning any inner stuff, all these outer faces. So for example, I see this yellow, green, orange will roll across into position like that. So I either want to find something that rolls across the back or that rolls down a side. Doesn't really matter. I would just check to see if anything else makes sense. In this case, nothing matters, so I'll just put this one in here. It's the yellow, green, red. Won't worry about that. So corner piece series with the pieces going this way, so it's the first turn of the upper faces clockwise. And all outers. Okay, that one's in. I'll just go and look for something that's useful. Here's one, white, red, green, can go across to here. This one's blue, white, red. So I'll see if it's handy. It's down there. I can do 2 setup moves here to put this into a position where that red side sticker will go to the top. So that is worth doing. So I can place this one to here and this one over to here. And once they're done, I'll undo those 2 setup moves. What have I got next? Nothing really obvious. So white, that's in position, that's in position. I've got white, green, orange, and I've got green. Oh, that's not in position actually. Okay, so nothing super obvious here. What I might do is just turn this up to the position here to see if I can make something happen. Now that is the position that is white, green, orange, and the top face there is green. That's not going to work. So sometimes it's just like, nothing's obvious. White, green, red. Sorry, that's green, yellow, red. Let's see what happens if I turn it like this. That's better. Now, in fact, is it? Okay, that is actually better because that's supposed to be white. So what I can do is move this one down the side so that will place in its correct position. A little bit of an annoying thing here to get these right, but anyway, I'll move this one up as another setup, just as a third piece. So really all I care about is that one there. This time the piece movement is this direction, so the first turn of the upper face is anti-clockwise. Okay, what were my setups? That one and that one. What have we got? 1 in position, 2 in position. Okay, so we're down to the last 2. Could get a 3 cycle, could get 2 flipped in position. I'll just make sure these are on the same face. And this one needs to twist anti-clockwise. This one needs to twist clockwise. So whatever the direction is, it's going around like that. So I'm going to do 2 up, up, down, downs. Instead of this face first, I'm going to move this face first because the twisting direction is that. So up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, which will correctly orient that corner. I'll turn the upper face, bring the other one in, and go the other way. All right, that's oriented. When I turn the upper face back, you can see that everything is solved. So that is the 9x9x9 reboot. I hope it was helpful, particularly the centers at the start. Did take a bit of a while, but that's what I did it for. So you can see that once you get everything reduced, it's very, very straightforward. This puzzle is probably right on the edge of my limit of holding a puzzle. I'm pretty close to putting it there and just turning things like that. But there we go. So that's the 9x9. As always, thanks for watching.